Want to welcome everybody. Thank you for taking some time out here on this Labor Day holiday to talk some ball with head coach Sean Lewis. And coach, just kind of a opening statement about the game against Washington and now the unique week ahead, and as you guys get ready for Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, first off, good morning, everyone. Happy Labor Day. Coming to you from beautiful, sunny Oklahoma here. Got in yesterday. Traveled from Washington to Oklahoma. We got a chance to review the tape and everything. Lots of good things that we can build upon. Obviously, things that we need to learn as well from those lessons. But we got a strong, resilient football team that when they play right in all three phases, we do things the right way. And there's some great pictures of that we learned from. When we got a couple of guys that aren't using proper technique or don't have proper eye discipline, right, then things can break down. But there's lots of good that we can build upon. I was very pleased, like we mentioned, Saturday night or early Sunday morning, whenever it was, whatever time zone you were in, really pleased with the way that our guys finished that game with the goal stand, and then with our guys, getting the ball off the goal line there to end that thing the right way. Again, lots of positives we can build it from, off of. And as we move forward in the week in Oklahoma here, looking forward to getting back out on the practice field tomorrow after we tighten up the game plan for a very talented Oklahoma team here as we spend the week in Tulsa, and then we'll travel over to Oklahoma City and Norman to play the game on Saturday. But looking forward to the next challenge, the next test. I know we'll be better because of it all.
Well, let's open it up for some questioning. Let's start with our man from the Record Courier and Alan Moff. Alan, any questions here for Coach?
If I can get it to unmute. Sorry about that. Coach, just who specifically jumped out at you when you went back from your team, things they were able to do on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I was pleased with what Colin did. The first play of the game is completely on me. Like I said on Saturday, it was a little too aggressive there from the jump and should have verified some things that I thought that we were going to see on tape. And, they caught us in the right coverage and we were in the wrong call. But I was really pleased with the way that Colin leveled out, and the way that he was able to settle into the game, made some explosive plays, really did some things within the confines of the offense where he, wasn't greedy and took what they gave him. And then when he needed to, he made the plays that he was capable of making. So I was really pleased with him. I really thought Cephas showed his physical strength and development from the offseason and what he was able to do run after the catch. And then again, interior, with our O-line, Sam Allen, Jack Bailey really played a solid game. And then conversely, you flip it over defensively. I thought our safeties played solid. JoJo was obviously very, very active, very productive. Nico and Weezy, when in the right fits, did a really good job. And then CJ West, when he was disruptive at the point of a contact as well. So those guys did well. Again, really pleased with Glass and what he was able to do. And Josh was able, he's only had two kicks there, but he pinned the one down on the 10, which was great. And then getting that second one off and again, able to flip the field. So we were able to do some good things there.
How'd you come out health-wise?
We got to get an MRI on Isaac Vance's knee, see where that's at. We kind of got a lingering leg issue with Savon Davis as well that we got to see. But other than that, those two were the only two really of note.
Were you pretty happy with how physically, you go into a test like that, first game of the year, you never really know. Physically, how were you able, when you watch it on film, how were you able to kind of stand up to him?
I thought, again, when our technique was proper, we did all right and we were able to hold the point and we matched up well. When technique broke down, then, the physical play broke down as well. We're only going to be as good as our technique. We're only going to be as good as our focus and our discipline. So we need to sustain that for however many snaps it manages, that we need to have a successful evening.
Hey, Dan, I don't know about the format. Obviously, I'd like to ask some Oklahoma things. Do you want to circle through for the last game first and then do that, or you want me to go ahead and fire away on those as well?
Go ahead, Alan. It's all you, man.
Okay. I watched some Oklahoma game. They were up 21-0 right away. Obviously, a lot of talent there. What did you see?
Probably a lot of the same things you saw. There's a lot of similarities in our offensive style of play when you trace the history of these offenses back. Coach Levy, their OC, is actually one of the guys that I learned this offense from way back in the day. So it's kind of like looking at our offense, just a more souped up version of it. They got a lot of talented kids. It's a pretty unique situation with, Coach Riley leaving when he did for the opportunity that he had. And, it wasn't like it was a program that was down and out that's hiring a new coach. It was a program that, has played in the college football playoff here recently. They're in big time New Year's Six bowl games year in and year out. They've recruited at a really high level and they're a very, very talented ball club.
Talk about their quarterback, obviously a UCF kid that did a lot of good things there. What's he bring?
I mean, experience yet again, right? A guy that's seen a lot of different pictures. He's played in a lot of different venues, and so the stage and the moment and the expectations and the standards that being a tier one quarterback has, at this high level at a prestigious blue blood program like Oklahoma, he embraces and he welcomes. And again, it's a familiarity with the play calling, right? So in a different way, it's the same song, just a different verse, to where we saw Coach DeBoard and Coach, and Penix, coming together last year and being reunited, or last week rather, from their being reunited. And now we have, Dylan Gabriel and Coach Levy, who were together at Central Florida, had tremendous success. They're reunited again together. And again, they're picking up right where they left off. So super talented kid, can hurt you with his arms and his leg, familiarity with the system. He's comfortable playing fast, and he's got a lot of weapons at his disposal that look like they're operating at a pretty high level.
Who jumps out at you defensively?
Who doesn't? They got speed, they got length, they can run, they can hunt. Defensive-minded head coach that brings a ton of energy. 88, 14, 2, 28 are numbers that jump off right away. They got the transfer from Tulane, number 77, who's disruptive. Their corners are physical. They're long. They play the game the right way. They play with a ton of energy. They're a talented crew.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Let's bring it over to the Oklahoman and Jenny Carlson. And do you have any questions for Coach?
Absolutely. Hey, Sean, I'm sure that a lot of the guys on the call probably already know this, but you're in Oklahoma. You guys just flew here. What's the situation? What's the setup?
Yeah, so we are in Tulsa, setting up shop here. Obviously going from far West Coast back home, and then to travel back to Oklahoma. We want to put our guys in the best position to be successful. So we went from Seattle to here, got in here and setting up camp in Tulsa. Going to be practicing here for the week. And then when we get done with our Friday activities, we'll be heading over to Oklahoma City. But felt like with Labor Day and our guys not having class today, we could give them a life experience. And we're actually going to be spending some time and taking them over to Black Wall Street this week to let them experience that, give them that life experience, that educational experience while we prepare and we plan, and felt this would be the best opportunity for us to have a successful week.
Gotcha. Okay. You mentioned that you and Jeff have some crossover with the offense and hurry up, and you guys want to play fast. Oklahoma showed that they're going to play fast this year. What in your mind is the key to tempo like that? I know it's not 100% of the time and personnel changes, but when you really want to go fast, what do you have to have?
First and foremost, got to have a quarterback, right? You got to have a quarterback that you can trust, that you've trained, that's comfortable playing fast so that they can think fast, know fast, do fast. And then you got to have success early on, right? Like we always joke that there is no tempo unless you get a first down, right? So you got to get that first down, because otherwise you're just going to tempo your butt right off to the sideline. You're going to be punting really fast, right? So having that quarterback that you trust, that you can, equip them with the rules of how you play fast so that they can then go operate and play fast. Because when you play at the speeds that both of us want to play at, you're given the control, and we talk about giving the keys to the car to that quarterback, and you got to feel comfortable on game day handing those keys over and letting them go whip it. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, like, you're only going to be as fast as that kid under center. And lastly, the piece that probably doesn't get talked about enough is that your big boys up front got to be in shape. Like, we all know our skill guys, those skinny butts, they can run and run for days. That's what they were made to do. But those big guys up front, with the lines that, we've been able to put together, and obviously the pedigree of Oklahoma offensive linemen and what they've been able to develop, you can only go as fast as those big guys up front, and if they're out of shape and they're laboring, then you're only going to go as fast as them.
When you talk about offensive line and their key to pace, how much of that is, you mentioned it's obviously physical, they got to be in shape, but how much of that is also mental and knowing what's happening, almost instinctively in that offense?
Oh, for sure. That's where we're fortunate to have a guy like Sam Allen, who's played all 5 positions up front for us, but you need a guy up front, that is able to see and process things quickly so they can get everyone on the same page, so that those 5 guys are seeing everything through one set of eyes. Because if you're going and you're scrambling and you're fatigued and you're not thinking clearly, and again, you get one guy who doesn't do things the right way up front, it can be disastrous, obviously.
Hey, I wanted to ask you one other thing, sort of off football, and maybe the fact that you guys are going to go see Black Wall Street this week kind of leads into this, but I'm wondering, you've been at Kent, obviously several years. You were there with the 50th anniversary of May 4th. The legacy of what happened there on your campus 52 years ago now, how much does that impact I mean, what you guys do or what you may try to do? And does that have anything to do with the decision to go see Black Wall Street?
I think when you step into these roles as coaches, that you're a basket of hope for the kids, and you're an educator first and foremost before you do anything else with ball. And we're fortunate to use the game of football to teach life lessons. So any opportunity that we have, whether it be our history at Kent State, or we're at a location where there's history that pertains to, human rights and just being a good person, I don't think you can do enough of that to spread positivity and to spread joy. And I think that's the unique things of why, I was talking with my wife this past weekend, and, just the cultural significance of college football. It just seemed like everyone in the neighborhood and everyone around the country for these past 5 days was just in a better spirits, because there's something that we all agree upon, no matter what our background is, where we're from, or what our beliefs are, that, we got a rooting interest in our teams. The people that are Kent State Golden Flashes fans, they put their differences aside. They come to Dick Stadium. They're going to celebrate the same way that the people who are Sooners fans, they're going to come together and they're going to put their differences aside. And there's a common bond there. And that's something that, if the world was a little bit more like a locker room, and you put your differences aside, I think we'd all be a better place. But I think I think personally, not speaking for everyone, not saying it's right or wrong, but just what I believe, we have to take on the responsibility as coaches to educate our young people and to make sure that they are well aware of all the things that have happened in the past, so that they can be better people and they can be better stewards and be positive lights as they go through this world. And hopefully they're better because they came through our program.
Awesome. Thanks, Sean. Hey, enjoy Oklahoma this week. I'd like to tell you it's going to be nice and cool, but it's not.
That's all right. I like it hot.
All right. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Let's keep it rolling with TV2's Jack Burney. Jack, any questions for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to jump back to Saturday's game for a minute. I obviously watched the whole game. One thing that impressed me about Colin was his ability to extend plays. I think him and Crum just have that innate ability to extend plays, and that really helps the offense. Just having a quarterback and receivers that can, keep plays going, what does that do for your offense?
Yeah, I mean, it helps keep us on scripts. I think one of the most impressive plays that probably is going to get overlooked because it doesn't show up anywhere in the stat book is, we took a shot play. It was early third quarter, part of that 16-play drive. We took a shot play where we got some pressure, where we had some leakage, and, it very easily, if it wasn't for Colin's abilities, probably could have been a 2nd and 17, 2nd and 18 situation. And, Colin pulled a Harry Houdini act and got that ball back to the line of scrimmage. And I think we ended up playing 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 9. So it kept us on schedule. And that's such a big thing, especially when you're playing up and, you're going against fierce competitors that are very, very talented. I'd like to say that, hey, I'm going to put them in the best situation, and we're going to call the best plays every single time. But clearly that's not the case. I haven't called a perfect game. I'm still working on it. But when you have a guy that can create on his own and make plays off script, and the receivers know that, again, that's just going to bleed through every single play, every single down, that they're going to fight and they're going to strain for one another to make good things happen. And we saw that numerous times, and I look forward to seeing that in the future. And that's where, their abilities and the way they pick their parents really, really helps.
Looking ahead to Saturday against Oklahoma, it was mentioned a couple times on this call, they play fast, just like you guys play fast on offense. I guess my question is, for your defense going up against the flash fast offense in practice every week, how does that help them get ready for a team like Oklahoma and the tempo that you're going to?
Yeah, I lost here at the end, but I think that the competitive advantage of it is that they are used to that pace, right? We talk, I think one of the advantages of playing fast is you create this new reality that defenses aren't accustomed to, or they have a hard time simulating, through scout work and things like that. But, when we look at their offense and what we do, it's very much a mirror image in a lot of ways. So, we're going to be down here together. We're going to probably do more good on good than we have in the past, in a normal prep week, just because to simulate that speed of the game. And again, what they do and who we are, it marries so well. And with how multiple they are defensively and how multiple we are defensively, it just makes sense to me that we're going to spend some time going against one another to simulate the speed of the game, to simulate the tempo of the game that we're going to feel. And it'll help our guys, again, to play confident on Saturday and execute the game plan.
I just got one more, Coach. Obviously, I think I ask you this every game, but are there any matchups you think are going to be important? I know the game is one in the trenches. You always seem to fire back at me with that, but are there any other matchups that jump out at you that you think you need to have a good chance of winning in order to have success in this game?
I think one thing to look at early on with their speed at wide receiver and the depth of their core there, is how we match up on the edge and how we can challenge routes on the edge, so that we can have more, contested opportunities or points of contested catches there on the edge. We got to limit the amount of space that those guys are able to run free, because they're again, very, very accurate quarterback. If we give him time and space to throw, he's going to find the open guy. If we don't challenge the routes and reroute and get hands on and contest the catches, that's an area that you can look to. That's a little bit different than just the trenches, but the trenches, Jack, are very, very important.
Thanks, Coach.
Absolutely.
Well, let's keep things rolling with the voice of the Golden Flashes and Rob Polinsky. Rob, any questions here for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, if we could go back to Saturday just for a minute. You got to play a lot of guys. Who were some of the young guys, that looked good to you, that jumped off film and, that you got a chance maybe to see for the first time in action?
Yeah, I mean, I was pleased with Gavin Garcia. He was a guy that, with having Jay Sean Polk and Xavier Williams down, added some value in the return game. And then as the game went along, we got him some snaps at tailback as well. And I thought he showed some natural quickness and some natural ability. The stage didn't look to be too big for him. It was good for Devin Cargman to come in and get some game reps. I think that's going to help him understand kind of the way that I am day in and day out, and the sense of urgency that I have on the practice field. Because before he got those live reps and he was in that live venue, he's kind of looking at me sideways like, Coach, this is ball. Like I've done this before. And I'm like, yeah, it is, but it's a little bit different. And, so he got to experience how it's different, and he'll be better because of that. And then, Oliver Beloit, he got some reps on the other side, and, CJ Harris, a guy who, transfer, but he got in, not necessarily a younger guy, but just new to the program. I thought those guys did some good things, and they flew around and made some nice plays.
Do you see any similarities between Oklahoma and Washington that'll help you prep for this week, now that you've played Washington and obviously you've seen Oklahoma on film?
I mean, they're both big, fast, and physical. I mean, right. So we shouldn't be accustomed, that shouldn't be a shock to us. But again, it's been made note of a bunch here. The similars in style and offense, that the schemes that Washington was using, the vertical passing game, is very similar to what Oklahoma is going to do. The amount of movement that Washington showed us along their defensive line, I'd imagine that we're going to get a lot of the same mixtures and variations of fronts. I mean, Coach Venerables and his staff do a heck of a job, mixing up the defensive looks. We're going to see every single front known to mankind. We're going to see every single pressure known to mankind. And they do a great job making you work and all that. So, those are some things that'll help prepare us for this opportunity.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Let's move things over to the other voice of the Golden Flashes and Tom Evans. Tom, any questions for Coach?
Just one, Coach. After watching Colin play a whole game, I get a little gunslinger vibe from him. Like there's just an inner confidence in Colin. Does that carry over into the huddle, and is that something you build off of with the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think his confidence, comes from the work that he's put in, right? And so he knows that he's got some unique gifts and some unique abilities. And I think the team feels that when the ball's in his hands, right, that good things are going to happen, that he's going to make good decisions with it, and that he has the ability to kind of pull a rabbit out of his hat every now and again, right? So, I mean, I think there's going to be some no, yes moments with him, right? But that comes with it. So luckily I'm already bald, so that's fine. There's no hair that I can lose. And, my wife keeps telling me that with every little bit of gray that keeps popping up, that, that don't look so bad. So we'll be all right. Let's ride. It's going to be a lot of fun. He's fun to coach, and, he's got a real confidence about him that the team can build off of, and, let's go mix it up.
Good stuff, Coach. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Let's open it up one last round of questioning. Any other final questions here for Coach, either about last week against Washington or this week against Oklahoma?
Hey, could I ask one more thing, Dan?
Absolutely.
Sean, I should have followed up better on this, but tell me a little bit more about just how and where you cross paths with Jeff.
Yeah, so in 2012, I was hired at Eastern Illinois by Coach Dino Babers, right? So Coach Babers came up from Baylor, and those first two springs in 2012 and 2013, as I was learning the offense, we would do professional development every single offseason back down at Baylor. And so, the guys that we worked with, that staff that we had at Eastern Illinois was incredible. Our offensive coordinator was Sterling Gilbert at the time, who, you know, had worked as a graduate assistant at Houston with Coach Levy. And, you know, Coach Levy was one of those first guys in those conversations as we got together, you know, helped us, right? It was the staffs were helping one another so we can learn and go and play fast. So that's where it all started. And, you know, we've stayed in contact ever since then. With our offensive coordinator, Coach Sauter, being from West Texas, you know, we got those Texas ties and have stayed together in that way.
Thank you.
Yep. And if you want another fun little tidbit, co-defensive coordinator Jay Valai for Oklahoma, Jenny, him and I played together at Wisconsin. We were college teammates. So there's some deep personal threads here. So I don't think we're going to be sneaking up on the Oklahoma Sooners. They know who we are. We know who they are. And there's a mutual level of respect. So it's going to be fun.
Was Jay as energetic as a college player as we see him now?
Yeah, we were both knuckleheads, and we still are.
Fair enough.
Absolutely.
Any final questions here for Coach on this Labor Day Monday? All right, Coach. Well, thank you very much. We'll let you get back to enjoying your off day here in beautiful Tulsa, and we'll get ready for the Oklahoma Sooners on Saturday night.
I don't know what an off day is, Dan, but I'm going to get back to that work that we got to do here to prepare. It's a really good team, but appreciate it, guys. Go Flashes. We'll see y'all on Saturday.